I always
I'm
thought that
sure.
the Mad Mage in the Undermountain dungeon should be a lich, really.
Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons because I kind of always do. This is a Dungeon Master Roundtable, and I have some guests with me today, and we're going to talk about some fun and interesting ways that you can use the Lich in your Dungeons and Dragons game. But before we do that, let's get everybody to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name's AJ. I have a YouTube channel that specializes in D&D lore, and yeah, it's been around for a while. Lots of videos. Check it out.
How's it going? No Fun Allowed. I cover adventure modules, how to play the game, and contrary to my name, I sometimes allow fun. Sometimes.
I'm Baron Durop. I have a channel, Dungeon Masterpiece. It's brand new. I cover how to draw inspiration from literature, cinema, and video games and history to make your D&D games better. An interesting way to use liches is, let's talk about an interesting way I've used liches in my own personal games. For a really eldritch monster like this, I don't really try to thrust it in front of my players immediately. I like to have it as sort of a odd MacGuffin that they have to interact with and then have it blow up in their face later. In a very short-lived evil campaign I ran, I had the players chasing down spell components for a 10th level spell that an evil cabal was going to use to trap a god into a statue. And one of the spell components they happened to need was an Elithalich's phylactery ground to dust. But they were never told that it was an Elithalich. You know, they cast the legend lore and got most of the answers, and a little bit of divination magic later, they found themselves in the right place at the wrong time and managed to abscond with the phylactery and was terribly confused and maddened for their characters were terribly confused and maddened after the experience. So it was great fun. Great fun.
An interesting way I can see a lich being used is unfortunately copying from Harry Potter, but let's face it, everything's already been done, is having the lich's phylactery be a person. And the way that could be interesting is that could be, this high noble individual, that could be the lowly peasant, that's the PC's friends, or it could be the PC's. Dun-dun-dun. And then you got to figure out, okay, like if we just kill the Lich, then the Lich just comes back. What do we do, right? And I think that could be a fun relationship of, knowing that there's this villain that we know we can't fight, because even if we fight it, what's the point? We got to do something to fix ourselves here. I think there's definitely a lot of fun nuance you can have with you being a phylactery.
A lich fundamentally is it's reversing the polarity. So it's a power that's draining from the world around it. One of the things I like to do with liches is change them up a little bit, but keep that fundamental element going. So imagine you have a Time Lord that's in a, how they regenerate the Time Lords, and there's an outpouring of energy. Well, what if that was a reverse? So in order for this spell-casting alien to shows up, and it needs to drain energy to regenerate and transform into something else. So it's suffered some sort of horrible cataclysmic cosmic disaster. It's arrived on your gaming world, however you've got it set up. It steps out of some extra-dimensional demi-plane that's its traveling vehicle, and it starts to drain energy from people any way it can. It can do that by raising the dead and sending them out to basically grab people and drag them screaming back, so it can suck them dry and get a little bit juicier every time.
I've just realized that all of you have gone to some extent to try and be very serious about this topic. And I came up with, how about a lich that is a game show host at the end of your dungeon or maze or mine? And it's not exactly your standard sort of lich story. So I feel like maybe I am in the wrong meeting, because I was thinking like, oh, I show up and there's a lich and blah, blah, blah. You do the game show host thing. You have 3 doors to choose from. Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. And behind these doors, there could be a potato, a treasure hoard worth millions, or an ancient red dragon. and you open the door and there's an ancient red dragon, instant death. I mean, that's the sort of thing I was sort of running.
To be fair, that's a Seric, right? That's a Seric. He's trying to kill. He's like the evil game show host who's trying to kill the participants. Yeah. I always thought that the Mad Mage in the Undermountain dungeon should be a Lich, really.
I think that you equate madness to longevity, right? Because like we see that people go mad if they're only around on this earth for a few years. But imagine if you're hundreds, thousands of years old, you're gonna get real bored of everything, and then you're gonna have those wacky game shows where it's like, all right, the 37th adventuring group, are they gonna make it? Let's find out. Of course you're gonna do that. Why not? you're gonna get bored of everything.
I also like the idea of a Lich being terrified, because the only thing sustaining their existence from whatever cursed dimension they're going to is magic, and they have to keep a constant flow of magic to keep alive. Like they have to keep finding victims to pour into, to grab their soul and feed it into their phylactery, like they're putting into some sort of cosmic shredder to like, take this and not me, take this and not me. So they're cowards, really, that are doing anything they can to sustain their existence, and their desperate clawing for magic could be quite underhanded and shady, like, you know, sniveling, like backstabbing little bastards who just look for whatever edge they can get.
Game show host.
Guy Smiley with like no lips.
Yeah. So does that mean like you have like what is it, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, except it's like it's a game show industrial complex that feeds the phylactery?
Yeah. Every question you get wrong shaves 10 years off your life.
Exactly.
Let us know how it feels for science and sponsorship.
That'd be so smart in the D&D universe, because it's like, hey, I could make you rich. You know, peasants are going to be lining up for miles. Because, oh yeah, of course I'm going to sacrifice a few years of my life if it means I could be rich. Of course. You know, most people in the D&D universe don't see gold, and yet there's these few wandering people, these vagabonds that are literally carrying hundreds of thousands of gold. You're going to be like, I want a piece of that.
You know, like an 18-year-old is not really going to give a toss if they lose 5 years of their life. Somebody who's 70 might, but a 25-year-old, nah.
There's our ideas. Let us know down in the comments what your idea of using a Lich and how you could make it more interesting and fun in your game. And thank you to all of my guests. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.